Why does rock and roll lifestyle so often mean breaking hearts? The adulation, the travel, the constant validation. It's a perfect storm for infidelity. We're about to count down 20 stars who couldn't resist temptation. And the story of number one involves a public confession that ended a marriage on the spot. 1. Ozzy Osbourne. When you think of a rock and roll power couple, Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne are probably the first to come to mind. Their relationship is the stuff of legend. She was his manager, his wife, and the person who, many times, saved his life. They've been through everything together, from substance issues to health scares to reality TV fame. You see, their bond seemed unbreakable. But not all things are what they seem. One of the biggest strains on their marriage, lasting for decades, was Ozzy's constant straying. For years, Sharon had to deal with his infidelity. It was just considered part of the Ozzy package, a side effect of the Prince of Darkness persona. But in 2016, it all came to a head. This wasn't just a quick, anonymous mistake on the road. Sharon discovered that Ozzy was having a long-term, serious affair with a celebrity hairstylist named Michelle Pugh. To put it mildly, Sharon was done. This was a deep betrayal that had gone on for years. She kicked him out of their massive, multi-million-dollar home. The split was shocking, and it looked like this was finally the end. Ozzy later came out and said he was getting help for an addiction to that kind of physical attention and that he deeply regretted the pain he caused. They did eventually get back together, but it was a scandal that proved even rock's most solid couple was one step away from disaster. Ozzy's behavior was wild, but he at least tried to get help. The next star on our list, however, didn't just have affairs. He kept a running count that is almost impossible to believe. 2. Mick Jagger. When you think of the ultimate rock star, you probably picture Mick Jagger. The swagger, the voice, the lips. He's been the face of the Rolling Stones for, well, forever. His energy on stage is legendary, even as he performs into his 80s. He is, in every way, the blueprint for a rock frontman, and his list of romantic partners is just as long as his career. What many overlook is that most of his major, long-term relationships ended for one simple reason: Mick couldn't stay faithful. His 22-year relationship with model Jerry Hall, the mother of 4 of his children, seemed stable from the outside, but it all came crashing down in 1999. Here's the kicker. Jerry Hall finally left him for good after a Brazilian model named Luciana Gimenez Morad became pregnant with Mick's child. It was a public humiliation that Hall couldn't ignore, but this was just one instance in a lifetime pattern. Jagger's first wife, Bianca, also cited his infidelity as the reason for their divorce. But here's the truly mind-blowing number that puts it all in perspective. In his biographies, it's claimed that Mick Jagger has been with over 4,000 different partners. 4,000. That's not a typo. It's a number so big it's hard to even imagine, representing a lifestyle of constant conquest. Jagger's number is staggering, but it was almost an open secret. Our next rocker's behavior, on the other hand, was so out of control it ended his marriage to a beloved 80s TV star, before it barely even started. 3. Tommy Lee. Let's talk about 80s heavy metal. Motley Crue was the definition of excess, bad boy behavior, and the hard-partying lifestyle. And the band's famous drummer, Tommy Lee, was at the very center of it all. His name is linked with some of the wildest stories in rock history. Tommy Lee has been married multiple times, most famously to Pamela Anderson in a whirlwind romance. But his very first marriage was to a different blonde, the 80s television sweetheart Heather Locklear, who was starring on the hit show Dynasty. Many people were crazy about them as a couple. They were the ultimate bad boy and good girl pairing. But the thing nobody tells you is that the marriage, which lasted from 1986 to 1993, fell apart because of Tommy's non-stop cheating. He flat out admitted it. In the band's famous tell-all book, The Dirt, Tommy explained that the rock star life just completely took over. He was unfaithful constantly. He even admitted to being intimate with an entire room full of women at his own bachelor party, just before marrying Heather. The marriage lasted 7 years on paper, but the infidelity started almost immediately. It was a pattern of betrayal he would repeat for decades, a clear sign that for him, the rock life meant no rules. Tommy Lee was the bad boy of metal, but our next rock star wasn't a leather-clad screamer. He was a clean-cut pop singer who became a politician, all while hiding a secret life that was breaking his partner's heart. 4. Sonny Bono. This one might surprise you. We remember Sonny and Cher as the ultimate 60s and 70s couple. They were this goofy, lovable folk pop duo. I Got You, Babe. They had their own hit TV show, the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour, where they would trade playful insults and sing songs. They were, for a time, America's favorite couple, but not all things are what they seem. Behind that happy-go-lucky image, their marriage was falling apart. In the years since Sonny passed away in a tragic skiing accident, Cher has been very open about what really happened. She said that behind the scenes, Sonny was a terrible husband when it came to faithfulness. According to Cher, Sonny used his fame and power as the group's leader to be with countless other women. It wasn't just one affair, it was a constant habit. She has said that he had other women and that it was a crushing betrayal. She felt less like a wife and more like a golden goose laying eggs for the family business. She was deeply unhappy. Eventually, she just couldn't take it anymore, and one of pop music's most iconic partnerships came to a bitter and painful end, with Cher filing for divorce to escape the constant infidelity. Sonny Bono's clean-cut image hid a dark secret life. But our next star is much more modern, a squeaky-clean TV judge whose own private messages revealed a pattern that shocked everyone. 5. Adam Levine. You know Adam Levine. He's the lead singer of the massive pop-rock band Maroon 5. For years, he was also the friendly, tattooed face on the TV singing show The Voice. He built a brand on being the cool rock star with a heart of gold, singing songs that were staples at weddings. He married a Victoria's Secret supermodel, Bahati Prinsloo, and they started what looked like a perfect family. But in 2022, everything blew up. A model named Sumner Stroh came forward on social media with receipts. We're talking screenshots of private messages. The messages showed Adam being way too friendly. But here's the truly shocking part that made the scandal explode. His wife, Bahati, was pregnant with their third child at the very time these messages were being sent. After Sumner came forward, several other women also showed similar flirty messages from the singer. Adam released a statement saying he used poor judgment, but did not have an affair. But the messages, which included him asking the model if he could, in all seriousness, name his new baby Sumner. Well, they told a very different story to the public. It was a massive scandal that shattered his family man image. Adam Levine's scandal was all over the internet. But our next rocker comes from an era before social media, where he could keep his exploits quiet, and his numbers are in a league of their own. 6. Gene Simmons. If there's one person on this list who was famously not monogamous, it's Gene Simmons. The co-founder and bassist of the legendary band Kiss, known as the Demon, built his entire persona on being a rock and roll lover boy. For decades, he bragged about his conquests. Gene was in a relationship with actress and model Shannon Tweed for 28 years before they finally got married. For all of those 28 years, Shannon had to put up with Gene's non-stop philandering. He was completely open about it. He didn't see it as cheating, but as just being Gene. But here's the wow factor. Gene Simmons claims to have been with over 4,800 women. He even claims to have Polaroid pictures of many of them, which he kept in a collection. This behavior was a constant source of pain for Shannon Tweed, which was even shown on their family reality show, Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. She finally had enough and briefly left him. The only way Gene could get her back was to finally agree to give up his demon ways, get married, and be faithful for the first time in his life. He traded thousands of partners for just one. Gene's numbers are huge, but he was always honest about his lifestyle. Our next star was also known for his wild ways, but his infidelity was part of a more complex persona that fans are still trying to figure out. 7. David Bowie. David Bowie was more than a rock star. He was a cultural icon, an artist who changed his look and sound over and over. From Ziggy Stardust to the Thin White Duke, he was always one step ahead. Part of his persona, especially in the 70s, was his very open and fluid lifestyle. Bowie was married to his first wife, Angie, during his rise to mega stardom. And according to her, their marriage was extremely open. But what many overlooked is that this openness was, by her account, mostly one-sided. Angie has said that David was with everyone, men, women, fans, celebrities. His appetite was apparently endless. The thing nobody tells you is that this wasn't just a free love arrangement. Angie has spoken about the heartbreak of finding him with other people. While he was off being a rock god, she was often left to deal with the reality of it. It was a classic 70s story of excess and blurred lines, where artistic expression gave cover for what was, at its core, constant infidelity. He eventually settled down with his second wife, the supermodel Iman, in a famously solid and loving marriage that lasted until he passed away. But his early career was a different story entirely. Bowie's affairs were part of his chameleon-like image. Our next star, however, was part of a band that defined rock debauchery, and his relationships with fans became the stuff of dark legends. 8. Jimmy Page. As the founder and guitarist of Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page is often called one of the greatest guitarists who ever lived. He created the very sound of 70s heavy rock. And Led Zeppelin, as a band, was known for a lifestyle of excess that was on a whole other level. They traveled in a private jet called the Starship and were treated like gods. And with that godlike status came a lot of dark behavior. The band was legendary for their encounters with groupies or fans who followed the band. Jimmy Page was at the center of this. He had a long-term girlfriend, Charlotte Martin, and they had a daughter together. But this didn't stop him from his infamous affairs on the road. Here's the most shocking part. His most famous relationship from that era was with a fan named Lori Maddox. The band's own tour manager has told stories of Page becoming obsessed with her. The truly disturbing detail? Lori Maddox was reportedly only 14 years old when their involvement began. It's a wow factor that is hard to stomach. This wasn't just cheating. It was part of a pattern of behavior on tour that was, to put it mildly, incredibly dark and predatory, all happening while he had a partner waiting at home. Page's actions were part of a dark legend. His bandmate, the singer, was just as famous for his own conquests, which he did little to hide. 9. Steven Tyler. Steven Tyler, the demon of Screamin', is the iconic frontman of Aerosmith. Alongside guitarist Joe Perry, they were known as the Toxic Twins, famous for their hard-partying lifestyle and incredible rock anthems. Tyler's energy, stage presence, and massive voice made him a rock god. He's been married twice, first to Serinda Fox and then to clothing designer Teresa Barrick. Both marriages ended, and a huge reason for the splits was Tyler's inability to stay faithful. He has been incredibly open about his wild days in his autobiography. What many overlook is the sheer scale of it. He admitted that for years, cheating was just part of the job description. He and his bandmates would have fans brought to them backstage. It was a constant stream of new partners day after day, city after city. His second wife, Teresa, filed for divorce after 17 years of marriage when she reportedly discovered he was having an affair. Steven Tyler has said he regrets the pain his actions caused his families, but he's also been clear that the lifestyle itself was something he, at the time, fully embraced. It was a classic case of a star who wanted both the stable family at home and the rock fantasy on the road. Tyler's wife discovered his affair. But our next rocker didn't just have an affair. He famously stole his best friend's wife, wrote a song about it, and then cheated on her. 10. Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton is a guitar god. Slow hand. He's a legend known for his soulful blues rock. But his personal life has been just as dramatic as his music. In the late 60s, he became part of the most famous love triangle in rock history. Here's how it happened. Clapton became deeply obsessed with Pattie Boyd. The problem? She was married to his best friend, George Harrison of the Beatles. This wasn't a secret crush. Clapton wrote the legendary rock song Layla, all about his desperate, unrequited love for her. He eventually won. Pattie Boyd left George Harrison and married Eric Clapton. It seems like a dark fairy tale, but here's the kicker. After all that effort, all that angst, and all that betrayal, Clapton turned around and was repeatedly unfaithful to Pattie. His own demons and substance issues were raging, and he was involved with many other women. To put it mildly, he broke her heart. While married to Pattie, he had a year-long affair with an Italian model named Lori Del Santo, who gave birth to his son, Connor. He also had another child with a different woman during his marriage. He fought so hard to get her, and then, once he had her, he couldn't stay true. Clapton's love life was a tangled mess. Our next star is also known for his complicated family tree, a direct result of his wandering eye. 11. Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart, with his raspy voice and spiky hair, has been a rock and pop superstar for over 50 years. He's sung some of the most romantic songs ever, like Maggie May and Have I Told You Lately. He's also famous for another reason, his love of beautiful women, especially tall, blonde models. Rod Stewart isn't so much a cheater in the traditional sense as he is a serial monogamist who often starts a new relationship before the old one is quite over. His list of wives and serious girlfriends is a who's who of the modeling world, from Alana Stewart to Kelly Emberg to Rachel Hunter. But here's the data that tells the real story. Rod Stewart has 8 children with 5 different women. That kind of number doesn't happen without some serious romantic overlap. His second wife, Rachel Hunter, was just 21 when she married the 45-year-old rocker. Their split was a massive tabloid story. Many of his relationships dissolved when his eye began to wander. He's settled down now with his wife, Penny Lancaster, but his history shows a clear pattern. Once the initial spark faded, Rod was often looking for the next love. Rod Stewart's pattern was famous. Our next rocker, however, has a history that is much, much darker, involving relationships that were completely inappropriate. 12. Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent, the Motor City Madman, is as famous today for his outspoken, over-the-top political views as he is for his 70s rock anthem, Cat Scratch Fever. He's a hard-rocking guitarist who has cultivated an image as a tough-talking, no-nonsense American icon. But back in his 70s heyday, his lifestyle was just as mad as his nickname. What many overlooked, or what has been forgotten, is his history of relationships with fans. And these weren't just simple affairs. The thing nobody tells you is that Ted Nugent has openly discussed his relationships with fans who were, to put it mildly, far too young. In a 1978 interview with High Times magazine, he bragged about his backstage life. He's even admitted to having relationships with girls who were not yet adults. In fact, he reportedly became the legal guardian of one girl, Pelimasa, when she was 17 so that he could be with her, all while he was in his 30s. He had children with several women he wasn't married to. It's a part of his history that is deeply disturbing and paints a picture of a star who used his power in shocking ways. Nugent's past is deeply troubling. Our next star is one of the biggest icons in history, but his squeaky clean image also hid a life of constant infidelity. 13. Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley, the King. He changed music forever. In the 1950s, he was a symbol of rebellion, but by the 70s, he was a global superstar. His marriage to Priscilla Presley is a core part of his legend. But the truth is, Elvis was unfaithful from the very beginning to the very end. Here's the wow factor. He met Priscilla when she was just 14 years old while he was stationed in Germany with the Army. He had her move to his home, Graceland, and she lived there through her high school years before they got married. You see, during his entire movie career in the 1960s, while Priscilla was waiting for him at home, Elvis was having constant affairs with his Hollywood co-stars. His most famous affair was with the actress Anne Margaret, his co-star in Viva Las Vegas. It was a serious romance, and Priscilla has written about how she found out and how devastating it was. He was the biggest star in the world, and he used that power to have any woman he wanted. His marriage to Priscilla, the woman he'd known since she was a child, ended largely because he simply would not and could not be faithful. Elvis was the king of rock and roll. Our next star is the godfather of punk, and his own admissions about his past are just as shocking. 14. Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop, the frontman of the Stooges, is the godfather of punk. He's famous for his wild, chaotic, and often dangerous stage antics like rolling in broken glass. His music and his persona were all about pushing boundaries and rejecting all rules. And that rejection of rules absolutely applied to his romantic life. Iggy has been married 3 times, but his life, especially in the 70s and 80s, was a whirlwind of encounters. He's been incredibly open about it in interviews. Here's the kicker. Like other rockers of his era, he has admitted that his appetites were huge and that he was involved with countless fans. But he's also admitted that many of them were, in his own words, way too young. He even wrote a song, 16, which is about one of these very young fans. He has spoken about his past with a kind of blunt honesty, not really apologizing, but just stating it as a fact of his life. For Iggy Pop, the chaos on stage was a perfect match for the chaos in his personal life, leaving a long trail of broken relationships in his wake. Iggy's past is wild, but our next star's romantic life wasn't just chaotic. It was a scandal that nearly ended his career overnight, and it all started with marrying his 13-year-old cousin. 15. Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis was one of the founding fathers of rock and roll. Nicknamed The Killer, he was a piano-pounding wild man with hits like Great Balls of Fire. He was on track to be as big as Elvis. But in 1958, his career hit a brick wall, and it was all because of his personal life. He arrived in England for a tour, and a reporter at the airport asked a question of the young woman with him. Her name was Myra Gale Brown, and she told the reporter she was his wife. When the reporter asked her age, she said she was 15. The press dug in, and the story got even worse. She was actually only 13 years old, and to top it all off, she was his cousin. Oh, and one more thing. Jerry Lee Lewis was still married to another woman when he married Myra. He was a bigamist who had married his child cousin. To put it mildly, the world was horrified. The scandal was so huge, his tour was canceled, his songs were pulled from the radio, and his career was nearly destroyed. This wasn't just cheating. It was a life-altering decision that showed a man who lived by no rules but his own. He would go on to have 7 marriages in total, a life built on chaotic relationships. The killer's scandal was in a league of its own. Our next star brings us back to 80s metal, and like his bandmate Tommy Lee, he was no stranger to infidelity. 16. Vince Neil. As the lead singer of Motley Crue, Vince Neil was the voice and face of 80s hair metal. He had the look, the sound, and the lifestyle that defined the era. And just like his bandmate Tommy Lee, his life was all about excess. Vince has been married 4 times. His first marriage was to a woman named Beth Lynn, which ended in 1985. But his second marriage, to a mud wrestler and model named Charisse Riddell in 1987, was right at the height of the Crue's fame. And it was that fame that tore them apart. In the band's book, The Dirt, Vince's bandmates describe his infidelity as constant. While Charisse was at home, Vince was on the road, living out the ultimate rock star fantasy. He was with so many other women that it was impossible to hide. The marriage eventually crumbled under the weight of his non-stop cheating and the hard-partying lifestyle. It's the classic 80s hair metal story. What happens on tour rocks the marriage to its core. His subsequent relationships followed a similar pattern of intensity and, often, infidelity. Vince Neil was the classic 80s frontman. Our next star was the frontman for the next generation of hard rock, and his relationships were known for being just as volatile. 17. Axl Rose. Axl Rose, the frontman of Guns N' Roses, was one of the biggest and most controversial rock stars on the planet. His band's debut album, Appetite for Destruction, is one of the best-selling of all time. But Axl was just as famous for his temper, his late-to-stage antics, and his incredibly stormy relationships. His most famous relationship was with supermodel Stephanie Seymour, who even appeared in the band's iconic music videos for Don't Cry and November Rain. They were the ultimate rock and roll power couple of the early 90s. But their relationship was a complete disaster. It ended in 1993 with a flurry of lawsuits, with both sides accusing the other of infidelity and worse. Before Stephanie, Axl was married to Aaron Everly, the inspiration for the song Sweet Child of Mine. That marriage lasted less than a year and was also filled with chaos and, according to her, Axl's cheating. Axl's whole career is marked by chaos. He was a volatile, unpredictable, and magnetic frontman, and his romantic life was just as explosive, leaving a trail of high-profile, bitter breakups in his wake. Axl's relationships were explosive. But our next star is known as the nicest guy in rock, which made the 2024 revelations about his secret life all the more shocking. 18. Dave Grohl. This one is a total shocker. Dave Grohl is universally known as the nicest guy in rock. From his start as the drummer in Nirvana to leading his own massive band, the Foo Fighters, he has cultivated an image as a down-to-earth, funny, and loyal family man. He has been happily married to his wife, Jordan Blum, since 2003, and they have 3 daughters. They are seen as one of the most stable and normal couples in all of music. But in 2024, a story broke that stunned the music world. According to reports, Grohl admitted to a past indiscretion that was more than just a simple mistake. It was alleged that he had a secret child from an affair that happened years ago. The news came out through leaked messages, where he was allegedly admitting this to another woman he was involved with. This completely shatters his public image. It suggests that even the nicest guy in rock was capable of living a secret life, hiding a betrayal from his wife and his fans for years. Dave Grohl's secret was a modern-day shock. Our next star is an old-school legend, but the miracle isn't just that he's alive, it's that his marriage is too. 19. Keith Richards. Keith Richards is a living miracle. The legendary guitarist for the Rolling Stones and Mick Jagger's Glimmer twin, he is just as famous for his hard-partying lifestyle as he is for his iconic guitar riffs. The man has faced so many personal demons, it's amazing he's still standing. But here's the real wow factor. Keith Richards has been with his wife, model Patty Hansen, since 1983. That's over 40 years. In the world of rock and roll, that is an eternity. They seem rock solid, a true through thick and thin couple. But Keith himself has admitted that he wasn't always the faithful husband. He's said in interviews that especially in the early days of their relationship, he wasn't a saint. The temptations of the road were still a huge part of his life. The 80s were a wild time for the Stones. The miracle isn't just that Keith survived his own lifestyle. It's that his marriage survived him. He has credited Patty Hansen with saving his life and being the one person who could finally get him to settle down. But it wasn't without its share of heartbreak first. Keith's marriage survived, but his 70s counterpart, the frontman for Led Zeppelin, was the very definition of a rock god who lived a life of total excess. 20. Robert Plant. Robert Plant, the Golden God. As the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, he was the blueprint for the 70s rock frontman. The soaring voice, the lion's mane hair, the unbuttoned shirt. He was the fantasy of millions, and he lived that fantasy to the fullest. What many overlooked or chose to forget was that during the height of Led Zeppelin's world-dominating fame, Robert Plant was married. He had married his wife, Maureen Wilson, in 1968, before the band even took off. They had 3 children together. But while Maureen was at home on their farm in Wales, Robert was on tour, living a completely different life. The band's tours were legendary for their debauchery. Plant, as the Golden God, was at the very center of it all. He was famously involved with countless fans all over the world. It wasn't a secret. It was just part of the lifestyle. He was living a total double life, the quiet country family man at home and the world's biggest rock star on the road. It was a pattern of constant betrayal that was simply accepted as what rock stars do. What if I told you that over 10,000 affairs and broken promises lurk behind the biggest names in rock and roll, turning backstage into a battlefield of lies and betrayal? From Robert Plant and his openly reckless affairs to Jimmy Page and the hidden relationships he kept from the world. Here are 25 biggest cheaters in rock and roll history. One of the biggest rock and roll stars in history, Elvis Presley was loved by millions, but behind his fame, he had a troubled life. He was married to Priscilla Presley, but their marriage was not as happy as it seemed. He was often unfaithful, and Priscilla had to live with his constant betrayal. Priscilla met Elvis when she was only 14 years old. He influenced her life in many ways and controlled her choices. When they got married in the late 1960s, she hoped their love would last. But Elvis could not stay loyal. He was surrounded by fame and temptation, and he had affairs with many women, including Hollywood actresses and beauty queens. His close friends, known as the Memphis Mafia, helped keep his secrets. One of his most well-known affairs was with Anne Margaret, his co-star in the movie Viva Las Vegas. Their connection was strong, and Priscilla knew about it. He also had relationships with Sybil Shepherd, Linda Thompson, and many others. While he lived a life of fame and excitement, Priscilla felt trapped and alone. Eventually, Priscilla decided to leave him. When she had her own relationship outside of their marriage, Elvis was furious. He could not accept betrayal, even though he had been unfaithful for years. Their marriage fell apart in the early 1970s, and his personal struggles only got worse. His reckless choices did not just break his family, they also played a part in his decline. 2. John Lennon. A famous musician and a symbol of peace, John Lennon had a complicated personal life. Before Yoko Ono became his partner, he was married to Cynthia Powell. She was with him before he became a star, but their relationship suffered as his fame grew. Even though Cynthia hoped he would change, Lennon was not faithful to her. When Beatlemania took over the world, women wanted to be with him, and he often gave in to temptation. Cynthia tried to ignore the truth, but it became impossible to hide. The biggest betrayal happened when she came home from a trip and found Yoko Ono in their house, wearing Cynthia's robe. Lennon did not apologize or try to fix things. He simply moved on. Even after he was with Yoko, Lennon continued to have affairs. Some people thought they were the perfect couple, but those who knew them saw the problems. At one point, Yoko even encouraged him to have a relationship with May Pang, his assistant, hoping it would help their marriage. Lennon spoke about love and peace, but he struggled to be faithful in his own life. He wrote beautiful songs and inspired many people, but his personal relationships were filled with heartbreak and mistakes. 3. Mick Jagger. The famous singer of the rock band the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger was known for living life wildly. Many women liked him, and he dated whoever he wanted. From the very start, Mick had many girlfriends, and he never changed. Love, marriage, and even having kids did not stop him from dating many people. His first serious girlfriend was Marianne Faithfull. She loved Mick deeply, but he was not loyal. He even dated her best friend, Anita Pallenberg. Later, he married Bianca Jagger in the 1970s, but staying loyal to one person was not something Mick could do. Bianca said their marriage ended before it even really started. Mick's longest relationship was with Jerry Hall. People thought this would be different, but he still cheated and lied. Jerry stayed with him for a long time, even though he hurt her many times. But when Mick had a child with another woman, Luciana Gimenez, Jerry decided it was too much, finally left him. Even then, Mick moved on quickly. As he got older, Mick still dated many women. He dated famous models and rich women. His charm made people forgive him no matter what he did. Unlike other famous people who tried to hide their cheating, Mick was open and honest about his life. He never pretended to be someone different. 4. David Bowie. A famous singer who was always changing his look and style, David Bowie loved making new personalities, both in music and real life. He did not follow anyone else's rules. His marriage to Angie Bowie was unusual from the start. They lived a life filled with riches and excitement, but they did not follow normal marriage rules. People said they both agreed it was okay to see other people, but even without rules, some wondered if this was still wrong. David dated many famous and beautiful women like actors, models, and other singers. One special girlfriend was Ava Cherry, a singer who stayed with him for many years. She knew she was not the only one. Many people talked about him dating famous women who even dated Mick Jagger. There were even stories about David and Mick having a secret relationship, making people more curious about his life. He did not think commitment meant staying with just one person. David moved from one relationship to another, never staying very long. Even after marrying Iman, his life before was still full of secrets and exciting stories. People knew he was a great artist, but being loyal in love was something he found very hard to do. 5. Keith Richards. Known as the bad boy of rock and roll, Keith Richards was just as guilty of cheating as his bandmate Mick Jagger, though Mick got more attention for it. He loved breaking rules and did not believe in being loyal to one person. He didn't just cheat, he enjoyed the trouble it caused. His most famous relationship was with Anita Pallenberg. They had a strong but difficult love, and everyone knew they were both seeing other people. The biggest scandal was when Anita was said to have cheated on Keith with Mick Jagger, shocking fans everywhere. Even though he was angry, Keith had cheated many times himself. For him, love was never about being loyal. It was about living freely, even if people got hurt. After Anita, Keith kept living wildly. He had many girlfriends who came and went quickly. Each new girl fell for him easily, but he soon moved on. When he married Patty Hansen, some thought he had finally settled down. But could someone who loved freedom and adventure so much really stay with one person? People say Keith never felt sorry for cheating. He thought it was just part of his life. Did he ever truly love anyone, or was he too wild and restless to belong to just one person? 6. Eric Clapton. Known for more than just his music, Eric Clapton didn't just cheat. He did something even worse. He betrayed his close friend, George Harrison, by falling in love with George's wife, Pattie Boyd. Very beautiful and the inspiration for many famous songs, Pattie was married to George until Eric decided he wanted her. He wrote a song called Layla, showing his deep sadness because he couldn't have her. When Pattie rejected him, he got very upset and began using substances to cope with the pain. But his desire did not end there. After finally marrying Pattie, Eric continued cheating on her with other women. The worst betrayal happened when he had a child with another woman while still married to Pattie. Heartbroken, she left him. It's strange because he wrote beautiful songs about true love and loyalty. But in real life, Eric Clapton could not stop cheating and hurting those he claimed to love. 7. Bruce Springsteen. A famous singer known for songs about everyday life and working people, Bruce Springsteen was loved by fans because his songs felt honest and true. But in his own life, things weren't always clear and simple. He married an actress named Julianne Phillips. At first, it seemed like Bruce had everything: fame, money, and a beautiful wife. But soon, things became difficult. He traveled often for concerts, and this made their marriage hard. While touring, Bruce became close with Pattie Scialfa, a singer in his band. Pattie and Bruce shared a special connection that went beyond music. People around them could easily see their strong feelings for each other. During a tour in the late 1980s, photographers noticed them spending a lot of time together. Then a famous photo appeared showing Bruce and Pattie hugging in Rome. This photo proved what many had suspected. Julianne felt hurt by this, and the public was shocked. Fans who believed in his songs about honesty and loyalty felt confused and upset. His marriage to Julianne ended in divorce in 1989, and he began officially dating Pattie. Bruce and Pattie married in 1991 and stayed together for many years. But some people still wonder if his early actions were right. His music is about learning from mistakes, but in real life, even famous people sometimes make choices that hurt others. 8. Bono. The famous singer from a band called U2, Bono has been married to his wife, Allie Hewson, since 1982. Unlike many rock stars, he always seemed different from other famous musicians because he stayed away from trouble like substances and scandal. However, there have always been stories that he might have had secret relationships with other women. These stories were never proven true, but many people talked about them. People often saw Bono with famous women like actress Penelope Cruz and models Christy Turlington and Helena Christensen. Because they spent time together, some people wondered if these were just friendships or something more. He never talked about these rumors, so no one knows for sure what really happened. The life of a rock star is full of exciting things, like traveling around the world, staying in fancy hotels, and attending late-night parties. These things can make it hard for someone to stay loyal to their partner. Bono never publicly admitted to doing anything wrong, but people still wonder if he was always faithful. Even though he avoided big scandals, the rumors about his life show that it can be hard for famous people to live without questions and doubts. Bono chose not to speak about these stories, keeping his private life mysterious. Both Bruce Springsteen and Bono show us that even very famous people have problems and make choices that aren't perfect. Their stories remind us that everyone, famous or not, can make mistakes and face questions from others about the choices they make. 9. Sting. The singer for a famous band called The Police, Sting was known for being wise and thoughtful. He wrote songs that made people think deeply about love and life, and many saw him as not just a musician, but also a poet. For a long time, people saw his marriage to Trudy Styler as very strong. This seemed unusual because many famous musicians often had broken marriages. But Sting had secrets in his past. Before marrying Trudy Styler, he was married to an actress named Frances Tomelty. Their marriage ended in a very public way when he fell in love with his wife's best friend, Trudy. This hurt Frances deeply, and became one of the most famous scandals in rock music. After marrying Trudy, there were still rumors about him being unfaithful. People talked about Sting having relationships outside his marriage. He also became famous for talking openly about personal topics, like unusual ways of experiencing love. This made people wonder if he believed in staying faithful or if he liked to explore outside of marriage. No one has proven he was unfaithful again, but many people still wonder. Sting is charming and talented, and some question whether he used this charm off stage too. Even after many years, he and Trudy are still married. They appear very strong and happy together, but people still ask questions because of his complicated past. 10. Phil Collins. Another famous singer whose music touched millions of hearts, Phil Collins often wrote songs about sadness, love, and loss. Many people believed his songs came from personal pain, but he was not just someone who suffered from love. Sometimes he caused the pain himself. Collins was famous for not being faithful in his relationships. He had several marriages, and many ended badly. His second wife, Jill Tavelman, faced a very public breakup. People said he ended their marriage by sending a fax. He denied this, but many people still believed it. Later, Phil married Orianne Seavey. She became one of his biggest loves, but also his biggest problem. Their marriage followed a familiar pattern. First deep love, then lies and broken trust. His mistakes cost him a lot of money and caused much sadness. Despite all this, Collins did not lose many fans. His music and honesty in interviews protected his image. People saw him as someone who felt great sadness, not as someone who caused pain. But the truth was clear. He hurt many people he claimed to love. Today, people remember him as both a talented musician and a person who struggled with love and honesty. His story is one of mistakes, broken promises, and lessons learned the hard way. 11. Eddie Van Halen. Famous for playing guitar, Eddie Van Halen was called a legend because he could make music that amazed everyone. But behind the bright lights and cheering fans, his life was not simple. Eddie had problems he hid from the world. Married to a famous actress named Valerie Bertinelli, he and his wife seemed happy to fans. But things were different when no one was watching. Eddie often cheated on Valerie. He made mistakes over and over again, especially when he was on tour. Traveling from city to city, he faced many temptations and often gave in. The world of concerts and tours was filled with bad choices. People there broke rules and did whatever they wanted. Valerie tried hard to ignore Eddie's mistakes because she wanted their love to last. But even strong love can't survive too many hurts. Besides cheating, he also struggled with substances and alcohol. These bad habits made things worse. Eddie's problems slowly ruined their marriage until nothing was left. In the end, divorce was the only choice. Valerie later said she still loved him even after all the pain. It was a sad truth because he had caused her so much hurt. 12. Rod Stewart. Another famous singer known for making mistakes with women, Rod Stewart didn't try to hide it. He was open about his life and didn't mind what people thought. He sang songs that touched people's hearts, but in real life, he often hurt those closest to him. Married to Alana Hamilton, Rod saw his marriage fall apart. He was always looking for excitement and fun, and this hurt their relationship. Later, he fell in love with Rachel Hunter, but again, his love for excitement was stronger than his promises to stay loyal. The special thing about Rod was that he always told the truth. He didn't make up stories or lies to hide his mistakes. He joked about it and accepted who he was. Some people liked his honesty, but others saw it as proof he could never change. Even as he grew older and settled down, people always remembered his past. Rod believed that cheating was just part of his life, something he could not avoid. He lived a life that many people dreamed about, but he also faced the problems that came with it. 13. Ozzy Osbourne. Famous for his wild life as a rock star, Ozzy Osbourne was known for crazy behavior, loud music, and partying. But behind all the fame, he had a secret that shocked everyone. His biggest mistake was cheating on his wife, Sharon Osbourne. In 2016, people were surprised when Sharon found out he had been cheating. Ozzy had a long relationship with a hairstylist named Michelle Pugh, but this was not his only mistake. He had been unfaithful many times before, with at least 6 different women. Fans were very surprised because Sharon had always supported him, even when he had problems with substances and alcohol. Things got worse when Ozzy said he had a compulsive behavior and went into therapy. Many people wondered if he really had an addiction or if he just wanted an excuse. Sharon felt hurt and embarrassed. She openly wondered if she could ever trust him again. Even after the pain, Sharon and Ozzy stayed together. In 2017, they renewed their wedding promises to each other, but things never felt completely right again. His image was now hurt by this betrayal, and people wondered if he could ever recover from it. 14. Gene Simmons, another famous rock star known for being wild. Gene Simmons was part of the band Kiss, famous for their exciting performances, makeup, and crazy lifestyles. He was known for sticking out his long tongue, breathing fire, and partying non-stop. But Gene had a big problem too. Unlike other rock stars who tried to hide cheating, he was open about it. Gene claimed he had been with over 5,000 women and even kept pictures of every woman he had been with. It wasn't just wild rock behavior. It was an obsession. His longtime partner, Shannon Tweed, knew about his behavior and tried to live with it. She laughed about it publicly at first, but later it started to hurt her. Around 2010, Shannon began to feel very unhappy about his behavior and finally told him how she felt. This moment was important because Gene had to face what he had done. Even though he promised he would stop cheating, Shannon found it hard to believe him. His past was filled with women, lies, and arrogance. In 2011, after many years together, he finally married Shannon. It surprised everyone because nobody thought he could settle down. People wondered if someone like Gene, who had lived such a wild life, could really change. Could he ever truly be faithful after years of cheating and partying? 15. Paul Stanley. The famous singer of Kiss, Paul Stanley, was loved by fans because he seemed nice and romantic, not just a wild rock star. Unlike his bandmate, Gene Simmons, he didn't brag about dating many women. Instead, Paul quietly hid his secrets, but he also hurt people by not telling the truth. During the best years of Kiss, many women liked him. They thought Paul was special and caring, but secretly, he dated several people at the same time. Gene Simmons openly dated many women, but Paul pretended to care deeply, making his lies more hurtful. His girlfriends didn't know about each other, which caused sadness when they found out. 16. Jimmy Page. A famous guitar player known for his amazing music and mysterious image, Jimmy Page fascinated fans. But behind the music, he had many secrets. He didn't just enjoy fame. He planned his secret life carefully. Quietly dating many people, Jimmy was supposed to be committed to just one, but still pursued models, groupies, and famous figures. Unlike other rock stars who openly dated many women, he kept everything secret, hiding his relationships to protect his image. One secret relationship was especially troubling. Jimmy met a girl when she was very young and kept her hidden from everyone. His secrets didn't only hurt his partners, they affected his friends, the band, and the public. Even as he had a family with a well-known model, he continued having secret dates. 17. Robert Plant. Famous for his voice, golden hair, and powerful performances, Robert Plant was adored by fans who thought he was wonderful. On stage, he seemed magical and perfect. But off stage, his life was very different. Married but often acting as if he wasn't, Robert openly dated many women. Unlike Jimmy, who kept secrets, he proudly showed off his girlfriends. Everyone knew about his relationships, even though he had a wife waiting at home. One woman was special to him, not just another date, but someone he took everywhere, even on tours. His wife knew nothing about it, Yet even this special woman was not enough. Robert kept dating more women wherever he went. People who loved him learned he could not be faithful. Eventually, his marriage ended, but he didn't change his ways. Even when he became less famous, the stories about his relationships continued. Robert sang about love, but his actions showed something different. His life was filled with broken promises and hurt feelings. 18. Jerry Lee Lewis. Famous for playing rock music, Jerry Lee Lewis was also known for his troubled life. He didn't treat people well, especially the women he married. Getting married 7 times, he never understood loyalty. Instead, he hurt the feelings of his wives by cheating and treating them badly. He didn't truly love or respect them. Instead, he controlled and hurt them emotionally. Some of these relationships even turned dangerous. The worst thing he did was marry a girl who was still a teenager. This shocked everyone because she was too young, and he was much older. His music career fell apart, but he didn't change. Even while married to her, he continued seeing other women. His wives were often scared of his temper because he got angry very easily. 2 of them died in very sad and mysterious ways. People wondered if their deaths were just accidents or if something worse happened. His life was always surrounded by sadness, pain, and darkness. Jerry Lee Lewis's music made him famous, but he hurt many people along the way. 19. Axl Rose. The lead singer for the band Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose was loved for his music, but his personal life was a mess. He hurt the women he dated because he was dishonest and unfaithful. Pretending to love deeply, he used his charm to control people. His relationships always ended badly because he wasn't trustworthy. Even as he grew older, Axl didn't change, always hurting others. People remember him for his music, but also for the pain he caused. Playing guitar in the same band as Axl Rose, Slash was also famous but had his own problems. He lived a life filled with bad choices and didn't even try to be faithful. Treating women like they weren't important, he moved quickly from one to another without caring about their feelings. His first marriage to Renee Saran looked great from the outside, but inside it was filled with lies. Slash secretly dated many women while married. Eventually, Renee couldn't handle the hurt anymore and ended the marriage. He married again, this time to Perla Ferrar. At first, things seemed better, but he returned to his old habits. Slash continued seeing other women, causing pain once again. In 2014, Perla decided to leave him because she couldn't accept his constant cheating anymore. Even after his second marriage ended, he didn't change. Slash kept dating many women without caring about loyalty or feelings. He became famous through his music, but he is also remembered for his inability to be faithful or respectful to others. 21. Tommy Lee. A famous drummer in the band Motley Crue, Tommy Lee was known for living a wild life. He loved parties, music, and being famous, but he often hurt people close to him because he was not faithful. Married to Heather Locklear in the 1980s, Tommy seemed happy, but he had many girlfriends behind her back. Heather soon found out the truth and felt very hurt. She left him in 1993 because he could not be loyal to her. Later, he married Pamela Anderson. They tied the knot after just 4 days together. At first, their marriage seemed full of excitement, but soon, Tommy started acting the same way again. He lied and had relationships with other women. Pamela was hurt many times and ended the marriage in 1998. Even after that, he did not change. Tommy's life showed the dark side of being a famous rock star, hurting others while chasing fun. 22. Nikki Sixx. Playing bass guitar in Motley Crue, Nikki Sixx lived a life full of danger and bad choices. He used substances and often lied to the people he loved, doing things without caring about the results. Writing a book about his life called The Heroin Diaries, Nikki talked openly about hurting people he loved. Married to Brandy Brandt, he had children, but while she cared for their kids, he secretly dated many women. At first, he did not feel bad about it. His actions hurt his family and ended the marriage. After that, he married Donna DeRico, but he acted the same way again. Nikki was not good at staying faithful and often hurt the feelings of people who trusted him. In 2014, he married Courtney Bingham and tried to change and live a better life. Later, Nicky admitted he acted badly because he felt insecure. Still, his past actions made it hard for others to trust him again. 23. Vince Neil. His first wife was Beth Lynn. When Vince became famous, he could not resist partying and meeting other women. He did not even try to hide what he did. His marriage to Beth did not last long because she was tired of being hurt, marrying Charisse Rudy. Dell next. Vince had a child with her, but he still could not change his ways. He often disappeared to party and spent time with other women. Charisse felt very sad and betrayed, so she left him. Later, he married Leah Gerardini. Even though he was older, Vince still could not stay faithful. He never said sorry for hurting others and always did what he wanted. 24. Bret Michaels. The famous singer for the band Poison, Bret Michaels was loved by fans for his cool style, big smile, and confident attitude on stage. But behind his rock star image, he had a secret side, one that often betrayed people who cared about him, hurting their feelings. Known for having many relationships, Bret often dated multiple people at the same time. Newspapers frequently wrote about his personal life because it was full of drama. His most famous scandal happened in the 1990s when he had an affair with Pamela Anderson, who was married at the time. While Pamela faced heavy criticism, Bret continued living the same way, juggling multiple girlfriends. His habit of being unfaithful wasn't just a short phase, it lasted many years. Always choosing excitement and new relationships over loyalty, he later starred in a TV show called Rock of Love, where women competed for his attention. This show made it clear that he had no interest in settling down. Many people who knew him shared how Bret would leave them once the excitement was over. Even though he had money, fame, and fans, he struggled to truly connect with someone. Some wondered if being famous made him act this way, or if it was just part of who he was. 25. David Lee Roth. The lead singer of the band Van Halen, David Lee Roth was known for his wild performances and exciting personality. Famous both on stage and off, he never followed the rules, especially when it came to relationships. David didn't hide his actions. He was proud of them. During Van Halen's most popular years, he was known for dating many different women, often bragging about how many girlfriends he had. For David, dating was like a game. He enjoyed meeting new people every day, and relationships never lasted long. Even when other rock stars began to settle down and get married, he refused to change. David never got married and never apologized for the way he lived. He believed that being in a relationship meant losing freedom, which he didn't want. People still wonder if he just didn't want to grow up, or if he was the last person to live that wild rock star life. Either way, David Lee Roth's story is tied to both his music and his choices. To some, he was a hero of freedom. To others, he showed that even famous people can have a dark side. Did you know that over 70% of rock's biggest legends got caught up in scandalous affairs with their co-stars, risking their careers, marriages, and even their bands? From John Lennon, who found both inspiration and chaos with May Pang, to Mick Jagger and Marianne Faithfull, whose passion ignited one of rock's biggest scandals. Here are 25 rock and roll legends who cheated with their co-stars. 1. John Lennon and May Pang. Time with May Pang wasn't just about wild parties for John Lennon, it was a time of freedom, music, and deep emotions. From the summer of 1973 to early 1975, Lennon stepped away from his marriage to Yoko Ono. But this wasn't just his choice. Ono, feeling their marriage struggles, actually encouraged it. At first, Lennon was unsure, but he soon left for Los Angeles with Pang, his young assistant. She wasn't just a girlfriend. She helped him fix broken relationships. She reconnected him with his son Julian, and even made a rare jam session between Lennon and Paul McCartney happen, something fans never thought they'd see again. In Los Angeles, Lennon's life was wild. He spent time with party-loving friends like Keith Moon, Harry Nilsson, and Ringo Starr, leading to crazy nights and messy recording sessions. One of the most famous moments happened at the Troubadour, when a drunk Lennon was kicked out for yelling at the Smothers Brothers. But through all the chaos, he was still creative. With Pang's support, he made Walls and Bridges, an album that gave him one of his biggest hits, Whatever Gets You Through the Night. This time wasn't just a downfall, it was also a time of raw energy and rediscovery. Lennon was happy with Pang, but in early 1975, he returned to Yoko Ono. Pang later said he had thought about staying with her and even talked about marriage, but Ono may have used psychological tricks to bring him back. 2. Elvis Presley and Anne Margaret. Had a love that could have changed everything, Elvis Presley and Anne Margaret. They met in 1963 while filming Viva Las Vegas, and their chemistry was undeniable. But their bond wasn't just for the cameras. Anne Margaret, a strong performer herself, shared Presley's passion for music and performing. She later said they were connected in a way words couldn't explain. Off-screen, their romance was just as intense. They spent nights together, wrote each other loving letters, and built something deeper than just a movie romance. But Presley's life wasn't fully his own. His manager, Colonel Tom Parker, had already planned his future, one that included marrying Priscilla Beaulieu. She fit the image Parker wanted for him: quiet, loyal, and not looking for the spotlight. Anne Margaret, with her own career and independence, didn't fit that mold. Presley, torn between his heart and his duty, kept seeing her in secret, giving her gifts and sharing his feelings. Priscilla, aware of the rumors, confronted him, but their relationship was an open secret in Hollywood. Things changed when Anne Margaret admitted their romance in an interview. Under pressure, Presley ended it and went ahead with his marriage to Priscilla in 1967. But his connection with Anne Margaret never completely faded. Unlike many of his past loves, she stayed in his life with respect and affection. When Presley died in 1977, Anne Margaret was one of the few non-family members at his funeral. 3. Mick Jagger and Marianne Faithfull. Had many famous relationships, Mick Jagger, the lead singer of the Rolling Stones, but his time with Marianne Faithfull was one of the most intense. In 1966, while still with his girlfriend Chrissy Shrimpton, Jagger became interested in Faithfull, a rising singer and actress. She was part of London's wild swinging 60s scene, and their relationship was full of excitement, fame, and bad decisions. Faithfull, whose hit song As Tears Go By was written by Jagger and Keith Richards, got pulled deeper into the band's reckless lifestyle. What started as a thrilling romance soon became a troubled and painful journey. One of the biggest scandals in their relationship happened in 1967 during the Redlands substance bust. Police raided Keith Richards' home and found Jagger, Faithfull, and others in the middle of a substance-fueled party. The press went crazy, especially after it was revealed that Faithfull was wrapped in only a fur rug. This moment became one of the most talked-about scandals of the decade. Jagger's arrest added to his rebellious image, but for Faithfull, it was the beginning of a downward spiral. Her career suffered as she fell deeper into opioids addiction, and her bright future faded away. By the early 1970s, their relationship was falling apart. Jagger was unfaithful, and Faithfull struggled with addiction. When Jagger had a child with another woman, Marcia Hunt, Faithfull was devastated. As Jagger moved on, she sank further into despair, eventually living on the streets for years before rebuilding her life. 4. Eric Clapton and Pattie Boyd. Obsession with Pattie Boyd led to one of rock's most dramatic love triangles, Eric Clapton. Boyd, a model and muse, was married to George Harrison of the Beatles. She inspired famous songs like Something and I Need You. But Clapton, fascinated by her beauty, became obsessed. In the early 1970s, his feelings erupted in the song Layla, a desperate love song based on a Persian tale of forbidden love. Clapton was tormented because Boyd stayed loyal to Harrison, despite his advances. The tension reached a peak when Clapton confessed his love for Boyd directly to Harrison. Instead of anger, Harrison responded with calm indifference, making the situation even stranger. Heartbroken, Clapton turned to opioids to numb his pain. Years later, in 1974, Boyd finally left Harrison and gave in to Clapton's pursuit. But the victory was short-lived. Despite their passionate start, Clapton's drinking and infidelity ruined their marriage. Clapton, who had written so many songs about his love for Boyd, ended up betraying her repeatedly. He had affairs, including one with Italian model Lori Del Santo, who later had his son, Connor. His marriage to Boyd became filled with heartbreak and broken promises. After years of emotional pain, Boyd divorced him in 1989. What seemed like a great love story was really a tale of obsession, betrayal, and disillusionment. Despite everything, Clapton and Harrison stayed friends, showing how strange and complicated love in rock and roll could be. 5. Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. Had a wild and messy relationship, Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. It was full of passion, but also filled with chaos and pain. They met in 1990 when Cobain was still with Toby Vale, the drummer of Bikini. But Love had already set her sights on him. By 1991, as Nirvana became famous with Nevermind, they finally got together. From the start, their love was tangled with addiction, leading to a downward spiral that would define their time together. In early 1992, Cobain and Love married in a small ceremony in Hawaii. Love was already pregnant with their daughter, Frances Bean Cobain. But trouble started right away. A Vanity Fair article claimed Love used opioids while pregnant, leading to an investigation that briefly took Frances away from them. Their life became a public disaster, filled with fights, breakdowns, and substance addiction. Cobain, unhappy with fame and sinking into depression, pulled away from the world. Love, on the other hand, thrived in the chaos, enjoying the attention. Their love burned intensely but was toxic, full of betrayal and addiction. The last months of Cobain's life were dark. In March 1994, he overdosed on Rohypnol in Rome. Many believed it was a failed self-inflicted death attempt. A few weeks later, he was found dead in his Seattle home from a shotgun wound. It was ruled a self-inflicted death, but rumors and conspiracy theories spread, with some blaming Love. Whether true or not, their love story was no fairy tale. It was a tragic chapter in rock history, leaving behind more questions than answers. 6. David Bowie and Ava Cherry. Had a relationship with Ava Cherry that was more than just romance. It changed his music, David Bowie. At the time, Bowie was married to Angie Bowie. Their open marriage led to many affairs, but Cherry was different. A stunning model and singer, she became his lover, friend, and inspiration. In the early 1970s, as Bowie moved beyond glam rock, Cherry introduced him to American soul and funk. Through her, he discovered the music of Aretha Franklin and Al Green, which influenced his next big transformation. Cherry wasn't just part of Bowie's personal life, she became part of his artistic journey. She joined his circle, shaping his new sound. He brought her to Philadelphia's Sigma Sound Studios, where he recorded Young Americans. This album marked a major shift in his career, blending rock with smooth, soulful rhythms. Cherry's influence was everywhere in this new Bowie, stylish, cool, and full of swagger. But their love and music weren't enough to keep them together. Bowie's growing stimulant addiction took over, leading him into chaos and paranoia. Even Cherry, who had helped him reinvent himself, got lost in the storm. By 1976, Bowie left behind the excess of Los Angeles and moved to Berlin, seeking a fresh start. Cherry stayed behind, watching the man she had influenced move on. She continued her own music career, forever connected to that moment in rock history. The Young Americans era remains one of Bowie's boldest reinventions, and Cherry played a key role in it. 7. Ozzy Osbourne and Michelle Pugh. Was known for his wild lifestyle, Ozzy Osbourne. His music, dark image, and chaotic behavior made him a rock legend. But behind the scenes, his personal life was just as messy. His marriage to Sharon Osbourne had survived addiction, fights, and betrayals. But nothing tested their bond like his 4-year affair with Michelle Pugh. Pugh wasn't just a random fling. She was a celebrity hairstylist who worked closely with Ozzy. Over time, their connection grew stronger. This was different from Ozzy's usual reckless behavior. Pugh later said Ozzy made her feel special, like she was the most important person in his life. It wasn't just about attraction. It was emotional. That made it impossible for Sharon to ignore. In 2016, the truth came out, and their marriage almost collapsed. Sharon, who had always stood by Ozzy, finally reached her breaking point. She kicked him out and told the world she wasn't sure if she could ever forgive him. The media went wild, and their children, including Kelly Osbourne, were caught in the middle. Ozzy tried to explain his actions, blaming a newly diagnosed addiction, this time to compulsive behavior. Some believed him, others thought it was just an excuse. 8. Bruce Springsteen and Patti Scialfa. Was seen as the voice of the working class, Bruce Springsteen, a loyal and grounded musician. When he married actress Julianne Phillips in 1985, it looked like a perfect match. He was a rock star at his peak, and she was a Hollywood beauty. But their marriage had problems from the start. Phillips grew up in privilege and struggled to relate to Springsteen's world. He, in turn, felt disconnected from hers. Their relationship faded quickly. Meanwhile, another woman was always there, Patti Scialfa, a talented musician and member of the E Street Band. They had been friends for years, but by 1988, during the Tunnel of Love Express tour, their chemistry became obvious. Their connection wasn't a secret. On stage, their glances and harmonies told the story. Off stage, the paparazzi caught them together. Soon, everyone knew. Julianne Phillips, embarrassed and heartbroken, filed for divorce. The rock star who once seemed different, real and loyal, was now caught in a scandal. 9. Axl Rose and Stephanie Seymour. Was used to chaos, Axl Rose. As the lead singer of Guns N' Roses, he was famous for his wild temper and electric stage presence. But in 1991, he started a love story that would become one of rock's most talked-about relationships. Stephanie Seymour was a top supermodel and dating billionaire Peter Brandt. But when she starred in the Don't Cry music video, her chemistry with Axl was clear. She left Brandt, and soon she and Axl were the hottest couple in the tabloids. Their romance was intense, full of love and drama. In 1992, their relationship took center stage in the November Rain music video. The extravagant video, costing millions, showed Seymour as Axl's bride in what looked like a fairy tale love story. But behind the scenes, things weren't so perfect. Their fiery passion led to constant fights. Axl's jealousy clashed with Seymour's strong personality, turning their love into a constant battle. 10. Gene Simmons and Cher. The legendary Kiss bassist, Gene Simmons, lived for excess. Women, fame, and fortune surrounded him, and he bragged about being with thousands of women. But in the late 1970s, his romance with Cher stood out from the rest. Cher had just ended things with Sonny Bono and was enjoying her freedom. When she met Simmons, there was an instant spark. He was bold, confident, and completely different from anyone she had been with before. Unlike most of his flings, their relationship was public. Simmons even spent time with her children, something rare for him. Cher saw something special in him, and Simmons admitted she understood him in a way most women didn't. But even though their bond was strong, Simmons couldn't change his ways. While dating Cher, he also kept Diana Ross close, creating a messy love triangle. In the end, Simmons chose Ross over Cher, leaving her heartbroken. 11. Tommy Lee's crazy life. was a wild man, Tommy Lee, long before he met Pamela Anderson. Before her, he married Heather Locklear, a famous actress who tried to bring calm to his chaos. But even she couldn't keep him in line. They were together from the mid-'80s to the early '90s. But Lee's non-stop partying and cheating rumors ended their marriage. Locklear had enough and left, and Lee went right back to his wild ways. Then, on New Year's Eve in 1994, everything changed. He met Pamela Anderson, and their connection was instant. Just 4 days later, they ran off to Cancun and got married. The media went crazy. Anderson, the Baywatch star, and Lee, the reckless rocker from Motley Crue. Their love was intense, but trouble followed them everywhere. Their relationship was full of passion, but also full of problems. Their private home video was stolen and spread across the world, making them even more famous for all the wrong reasons. They were always in the headlines, facing lawsuits and scandals. Lee was jealous, and his temper got worse as Anderson's fame grew. In 1998, things hit a breaking point. A fight led to Lee's arrest, and their marriage fell apart. 12. Lindsey Buckingham and Fleetwood Mac's drama. Wasn't just a band, Fleetwood Mac. It was a mess of love, heartbreak, and tangled relationships. Everyone knew about the fights between Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, but there was another secret romance that shook things up. Buckingham and Christine McVie had a brief but important connection that made the band's chaos even worse. By the late 70s, Fleetwood Mac was one of the biggest bands in the world, but behind the scenes, things were falling apart. Buckingham and Nicks fought constantly, their old love turning into non-stop arguments. At the same time, McVie's marriage to bassist John McVie was ending, and she started to grow close to Buckingham. It started as a quiet understanding between two bandmates, but soon it became something more, a brief escape from all the drama around them. McVie was calm and steady, while Buckingham was intense and restless. Unlike his loud fights with Nicks, his time with McVie was quieter, built on music and connection. But in Fleetwood Mac, no secret lasted long. When their relationship was exposed, it only made things worse. The band was already full of tension, and this just added more fuel to the fire. The pain, love, and betrayals all spilled into their music, shaping Rumors, one of the greatest heartbreak albums of all time. 13. Keith Richards and Anita Pallenberg. The relationship between Keith Richards and Anita Pallenberg was not just a rock and roll romance, it was a betrayal that shook the Rolling Stones. Before she was with Richards, Pallenberg was with Brian Jones, a founding member of the band. She was more than a girlfriend. She influenced their style, attitude, and even their music. But behind the fame, her relationship with Jones was falling apart. His behavior became more unstable due to substance use, and he turned abusive. By the time she left him, his downfall had already started. Things took a turn in the late 60s during a trip to Morocco. Jones, in poor health, became aggressive toward Pallenberg. Richards stepped in, and Pallenberg left with him. This betrayal broke Jones, isolating him further and pushing him away from the band he had helped create. Meanwhile, Richards and Pallenberg became inseparable, diving into a world of rebellion, excess, and dangerous habits that mirrored their music. But their relationship had its own betrayals. In the early 70s, rumors spread that Pallenberg had an affair with Mick Jagger while filming Performance. The on-screen chemistry between them seemed too real. 14. Steven Tyler and Bebe Buell. The wild life of a rock star was lived by Steven Tyler, and his affair with model and singer Bebe Buell was no different. Buell was linked to many rock legends, but her time with Tyler in the mid-70s had lasting consequences. She became pregnant with his child, a secret kept for years. Tyler, lost in a world of partying and addiction, was not ready to be a father. Buell saw the chaos and made a shocking decision. She told everyone that her longtime partner, musician Todd Rundgren, was the father. She later explained that she wanted to protect her daughter from the unstable world Tyler lived in. For years, Liv Tyler believed Rundgren was her father. But as she grew older, the resemblance to Steven Tyler became impossible to ignore. Eventually, the truth came out, changing everything she knew about herself. By then, Tyler had cleaned up his act and built a relationship with his daughter, but the lost years could never be regained. 15. Nikki Sixx and Vanity. Few lived the wild rock star life like Nikki Sixx, the bassist of Motley Crue. By the mid-'80s, he was famous for partying hard and making reckless choices. His relationship with singer and actress Vanity was just as chaotic. Vanity, once mentored by Prince, was drawn to Sixx's dangerous energy. But there was a problem. Sixx was already in a relationship when they got together, setting the stage for trouble. Their romance was intense and fueled by addiction. They vanished for days, lost in a world of substances and excess. Their hotel rooms became substance dens, and their love story turned into a cycle of fights, paranoia, and self-destruction. Vanity, who had spent years dealing with controlling men in the music industry, saw something different in Sixx. He was just as wild as she was. But that same recklessness made their relationship a ticking time bomb. As their substance use got worse, their lives fell apart. Vanity realized the danger and tried to escape, but Sixx kept pushing his limits. In the late 80s, he suffered a near-fatal overdose. He was legally dead for a few minutes before being revived with an adrenaline shot. Even then, he struggled to change. By that time, Vanity had left the rock world behind, finding faith and rejecting her past life. 16. Roger Waters and Carolyn Christie. The driving force behind Pink Floyd, Roger Waters, was known for pushing boundaries in music and in life. Before his affair with Caroline Christie, he was married to Judith Trim, an artist who had supported him from his early days. Their marriage, once a peaceful escape from fame, began to fall apart as Waters became obsessed with his music. The rock and roll world was full of temptations, and Waters, feeling distant from his wife, gave in to them. Then he met Carolyn Christie. Unlike Trim, who stayed away from the rock scene, Christie thrived in it. She understood the pressures of fame and embraced the wild lifestyle. Waters, frustrated with his marriage, found in her someone who shared his world of ambition and indulgence. Their connection grew, and before long, Waters left his wife to be with Christie. Their affair turned into a marriage that lasted over 20 years. During that time, Waters experienced career-defining moments, including his split from Pink Floyd and the legal battles that followed. Through it all, Christie stood by him. But as with many relationships built on passion and secrecy, cracks began to form. By the early 2000s, their marriage ended, bringing their long and intense relationship to a close. 17. Eddie Van Halen and Valerie Bertinelli. A rock legend, Eddie Van Halen changed the way people played guitar. Valerie Bertinelli was a popular actress, loved by many. When they got married in the early 1980s, people thought they were the perfect couple. But behind the happy pictures, their marriage was falling apart. Van Halen's fame brought a wild lifestyle. He spent years touring, surrounded by fans and temptations. Rumors spread that he was unfaithful. At first, Bertinelli tried to ignore them, but eventually she couldn't. Van Halen struggled with alcohol and other problems, which hurt both his music and his marriage. Bertinelli later admitted she was also unfaithful. Their marriage was already broken. They stayed together for their son, Wolfgang, born in the early 1990s. But love wasn't enough. By the early 2000s, they separated, and though their divorce wasn't official for years, their marriage had ended long before. 18. Anthony Kiedis and Ione Skye. Lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Anthony Kiedis, lived a wild life. His world was full of music, parties, and short-lived relationships. One of his most famous romances was with actress Ione Skye in the late 1980s. When they met, Kiedis was already with someone else, but he and Skye had an instant connection. Their relationship started as a secret, but soon became intense. Skye was used to the music scene, but dating Kiedis was different. Their romance was a roller coaster, moments of deep passion mixed with chaos. Kiedis struggled with addiction, which made things worse. Some days he was loving and devoted. Other days he disappeared into his own troubles. Kiedis's biggest problem was his own actions. He couldn't stay faithful, and each betrayal pushed Skye further away. Tired of the endless heartbreak, she left, choosing a more stable life. Meanwhile, Kiedis continued down a dark path before finally becoming sober. 19. The Chaos of Ronnie Wood and Ekaterina Ivanova. The wild guitarist of the Rolling Stones, Ronnie Wood, had always lived on the edge. But in 2008, his relationship with Ekaterina Ivanova turned into a disaster. For over 20 years, Wood had been married to Joe Wood, who had supported him through his wild partying and struggles with drinking. But then he met Ivanova, a 20-year-old cocktail waitress from Russia, and everything changed. He left his wife, shocking everyone, and threw himself into a chaotic relationship that quickly spun out of control. Their time together was a mess. Wood, in his 60s, tried to hold on to his youth by partying with Ivanova. They were often seen arguing in public, their fights becoming loud and dramatic. Ivanova didn't shy away from the attention. Instead, she fed into the chaos, making sharp comments about their love life and keeping their drama in the headlines. Wood's friends and fellow musicians watched helplessly as he spiraled into self-destruction, while Joe Wood, heartbroken and betrayed, tried to reach out, but he was too lost in his reckless choices. Everything collapsed in December 2009. A huge fight outside their London home ended with Wood being arrested. The scandal spread fast, marking the disastrous end of their affair. Ivanova later said their relationship had been toxic and that she had felt trapped in a destructive cycle. Wood, now facing shame and public backlash, finally checked into rehab. 20. Jimmy Page and the Forbidden Obsession. At the height of Led Zeppelin's fame, Jimmy Page was a rock god. He was a musical genius, admired by millions. But behind the fame and wild tours, he had a dark secret, his obsession with Lori Mattix. The rock world in the 1970s had its own twisted rules, and Page played by them. But even in that era, his relationship with Mattix, a teenage groupie, was disturbing. He knew the risks, knew the scandal it could cause, but he didn't stop. Unlike other rock stars who openly showed off their young lovers, Page kept Mattix hidden. He made sure there were no photos, no public gossip. He even arranged for her to be brought to him in secret, keeping her locked away from the world. To Mattix, it felt like a dream: fame, luxury, music. But in reality, it was control. She was living in the shadows of his world. Their relationship lasted for years, an open secret in the music industry. As an adult, Mattix later admitted that what once felt like a fantasy was actually something she had no control over. Page, however, never spoke about it, leaving their relationship as one of rock's most disturbing stories. 21. Mick Fleetwood and the Ultimate Betrayal. Few bands captured the turbulence of love and loss like Fleetwood Mac. Their music thrived on raw emotion, fueled by tangled relationships and heartbreak. Mick Fleetwood, the rhythmic backbone of the band, found himself swept into the same storm. His marriage to Jenny Boyd, sister of Pattie Boyd, had already weathered years of excess, addiction, and prolonged absences, but it was his affair with Sarah Ricoeur that shattered it beyond repair. Ricoeur wasn't just a passing romance. She was deeply embedded in the band's orbit, a trusted presence who gradually became something more. What started as an unspoken attraction simmered beneath the surface until it erupted into a full-blown affair. This wasn't just personal betrayal. It was another fracture in the already fragile foundation of Fleetwood Mac. Jenny Boyd, heartbroken, watched her marriage crumble, but she wasn't the only casualty. Stevie Nicks, still nursing wounds from her own past relationship with Fleetwood, felt the sting of another loss. The fallout rippled through the band, further fueling their legendary tensions. Unlike many rock and roll flings that burned out in chaos, Fleetwood and Recker's relationship endured. They married in the late 1980s and remained together for years before parting ways in the 90s. But the scars lingered. The band, already a whirlwind of emotional wreckage, turned their pain into music. Every betrayal, every tangled love affair became part of their mythology. Fleetwood later admitted that love and loyalty had always been complicated for him, but he never regretted the wild road that brought him there. 22. Phil Collins and the affair that shattered his marriage. The legendary drummer and vocalist of Genesis, Phil Collins, built a career on his ability to channel deep, aching emotion into music. But behind the scenes, his personal life unraveled in a storm of heartbreak and betrayal. His first marriage to Andrea Bertarelli seemed like a love story meant to last. Two young dreamers meeting at a London drama school, separated when Bertarelli's family moved to Canada. Years later, fate reunited them, and in the mid-70s, with Genesis reaching new heights, they married. Collins even adopted her daughter, promising to be the father she never had. But fame rarely nurtures stability. As Genesis dominated the global stage, Collins became consumed by constant touring and long hours in the studio, leaving his wife to battle loneliness. Distance grew between them, and into that void stepped an old school friend. What began as friendly conversations soon deepened into something far more destructive. The truth emerged in slow, painful revelations, and when Bertarelli discovered the betrayal, their once solid marriage collapsed under the weight of broken trust and neglect. The pain didn't fade with the divorce. Instead, Collins poured his heartbreak into music, crafting anthems of sorrow and regret. His iconic album Face Value became a raw confessional, and In the Air Tonight echoed with unspoken anguish. Fans spun urban legends about the song's meaning, but beneath the speculation lay a simple truth. It was a monument to a love lost to betrayal. 23. Dave Grohl and the love triangle that shook the 90s. The drummer of Nirvana and leader of Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl, was known as one of the good guys in rock. He seemed loyal and down to earth, but even he got caught up in a messy love story. In the mid-90s, he had an affair that quietly rocked the alternative rock world. His short but intense relationship with Louise Post, the singer of Veruca Salt, left scars that showed up in their music. At the time, Grohl was already in a serious relationship when he and Post connected. Their chemistry was strong, built on their love for music and the wild energy of 90s rock. But passion doesn't always last. Their affair was a ticking bomb, and when it exploded, it hurt more than just Grohl's girlfriend. Post, who had fallen hard, was left dealing with heartbreak and betrayal. She poured her pain into her songs, filling Veruca Salt's lyrics with raw emotions and hidden messages. Grohl also turned to music. The early Foo Fighters songs have lyrics that fans believe might be about this rocky love story. Unlike the big public scandals of rock's past, this one stayed in the background, hidden in the music and behind the stage lights. Over time, both moved on. Grohl found stability in his personal life, and Post kept making music. 24. Quincy Jones and Peggy Lipton. A music legend, Quincy Jones shaped some of the greatest records in history. But outside the studio, his love life was full of struggles and broken promises. In the 1970s, he married actress Peggy Lipton, known for her role in the Mod Squad. They seemed like the perfect Hollywood couple. She was a rising star, and he was already a giant in the music industry. Their love was groundbreaking at a time when interracial marriages in Hollywood were still rare. But behind the glamour, their relationship started to fall apart. Jones's success came with a lavish lifestyle, surrounded by models, singers, and famous figures. The rumors of his affairs spread through Hollywood, but at first, Lipton tried to ignore them. Over time, the whispers became impossible to avoid. She wasn't just competing with his career, she was competing with the endless temptations around him. Even as they raised their two daughters, including future actress Rashida Jones, their marriage kept crumbling. By the late 1980s, things fell apart for good. Jones's affairs and long absences pushed their marriage to the breaking point. Lipton had already sacrificed a lot of her career for their family, and she was exhausted by the heartbreak. They divorced, ending what had once seemed like a dream romance. Jones kept dating high-profile women, but never remarried. Lipton mostly stayed out of the spotlight until her return in Twin Peaks. 25. Don Henley and Stevie Nicks. Don Henley, drummer, songwriter, and one of the defining voices of the Eagles. Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac's mysterious queen, a woman whose haunting voice carried both pain and passion. Their names alone spoke of talent and drama, but together they became part of one of rock's most whispered-about affairs. It was the late 1970s. Nicks was already tangled in a stormy relationship with Lindsey Buckingham, her bandmate and former lover. Then Henley entered the picture, adding more chaos to her life. Their attraction was instant, their passion intense, but there was a problem. Henley was still involved with someone else. Nicks, fresh from one heartbreak, found herself in another complicated romance. Their time together was a blur of late-night recording sessions, industry parties, and moments of undeniable chemistry. But Nicks, who valued her independence, didn't want to be caught in another toxic love triangle. Henley, emotionally distant, kept her guessing. Their relationship became a frustrating mix of longing and uncertainty. Then came a rumor that still lingers in rock history. Nicks was allegedly pregnant with Henley's child. Years later, he claimed she had planned to name the baby Sarah, a name that later became one of Fleetwood Mac's most haunting songs. But their romance ended before it could become anything more. Nicks refused to be trapped by another man's indecision.